Hey guys, it's Janelle. I'm back, but I'm going to be posting this particular video on X. I don't know how to change my handle, so it is what it is, the way that it was set up. But I kind of wanted to elaborate on some of the stuff I was talking about when it comes to healing. I got an interesting download, I don't know, a couple months ago about this particular card, which I got from, hold on, this deck right here. It was just like an extra card inside of the deck itself. It came with another card. I think this card only has one side to it. No, it has two sides. And then another one is right here, just containing the zodiac chart and the planets chart. I'm not looking at that one so much. You've seen me kind of post on this deck. Looks like this. These cards inside. So the reason I am wanting to kind of go over this particular card was my explanation on how it is that I heal past wounds or trauma within self. And when I saw this card, it just kind of came to me, actually based on the way this lined up, okay, with our 7 immediate chakras. I talk a lot about using music, like music therapy, in order to using that music or that song as what I say, a wedge into a portal back to a time when, that trauma or whatever happened to us initially, going back and using that song to keep that memory open and current for us to be able to look at and address what it is that we need to heal within ourselves. And then I talk a little bit about how I do that. But when I looked at this card, I actually realized, I talk a lot about using what it is that we know about something, right? I'll call this, our crown chakra, what I know. And it says, I like to say that I go to my heart space. It is a conversation between my heart and my mind, a dialogue. Okay, it is a dialogue between thought processes and emotions, bringing and coming into unity within those two, and having our mind agree with our heart about a scenario, taking a past trauma, transforming it, alchemizing that energy, and I don't want to say moving past it, understanding it for what it was, understanding what it was that we needed to learn from that, incorporating that into our shadow aspect, and then taking what was pain and trauma and making that something that we can use to empower ourselves with future decisions in life, right? That is to let go of past pain that holds us back, because past pain and trauma leaves us stagnant. It is to address it, incorporate it, and then to move on. Not just to move on, but then when you incorporate that into yourself, it actually becomes a tool within self. So that is, again, to take pain, trauma, and then using that as a stepping stool, a building block within our lives. So the reason I'm showing y'all this card right now is because I realized when I looked at this, I am not only having a conversation between my heart and my mind. I realized it's actually all encompassing throughout all chakras. So when I actually do the healing work that I've talked about on my TikTok account, I was talking mainly about these two. But when I saw this card, I realized that when I do things like take music to address a pain, or I'm having a conversation within self, right? Or I'm getting intuitive downloads or messages from God, from my ancestors, from whoever, incorporating that. And I'm actually, every single time I do this process, I am actually aligning all my chakras. And I will explain to you why and how I do this. So, music for me is a big like way for me to create that portal essentially into looking at something that's incredibly uncomfortable. So for instance, let's say I don't know which past trauma I should use as an example. Like say I'm upset about a situation that I'm in or where I'm at. Let's say I shouldn't have been left for, out in the cold, having nothing, having no one, right? And again, this says I love, right? So I know my crown chakra. Well, I mean, it's got that on the thing. I see, or I say, I see, I understand, I hear, right? Your third eye is your connection to the divine, to God, to your ancestors, to your spirit team. This is who gives you intuitive downloads and messages to aid you and help you in your journey, right? I speak. It could be I write. Besides just I speak. This is to communicate out from self, right? I often like to say this is how I feel. These are my emotions, my soul. This is your solar plexus. This is your, where you draw your inner strength from. I can do this. This is, that strong belief in self that you are capable and able to do something. This is, I feel, I like to, I'm not saying this is wrong. The way I look at it on this card, though, is your sacral chakra. There's a lot of creativity that comes from this particular chakra. And I'll explain why I'm saying it like that in a second. And then this is your root chakra, right? I have this, I have that, whatever. So actually when I'm listening to, like, say, a song, whether I'm using, I've talked about the song Tunnel Vision, Melanie Martinez did that song, or whatever song I'm using in a moment, I use it to have this conversation really right here, but I actually do address all 7. So when I do this process, I am aligning all 7 chakras. So I might be like, well, I know I did not deserve to be treated unfairly, right? I did not deserve to be made homeless. I know I'm a good person. I know I haven't done anything wrong, And what's interesting about this process is sometimes the pain that we go through isn't even real. Sometimes we have pain that actually comes from a situation maybe we misperceived, right? So say someone said something to you at work, or a friend said something to you that you felt it really hurt your feelings, you know what I mean? And this process really works well whether the pain that was inflicted on you was what you thought it was, or if it was just a perceived infliction of harm on self. It really doesn't matter, because some pain that we experience is real, and some pain that we perceive or that we experience is not real. It's not actually even based in reality. But whether it's based on reality or based off of a false reality, pain is still pain, and it is still something that we need to process. So it really doesn't matter whether someone did do you wrong or didn't do you wrong, but you think that they did. This is a process that's still helpful either way. Okay? So I know I didn't deserve something. And it's like, well, how do you feel about that? I was like, I feel wronged by this because, you know, whatever that reason is. It's for me to understand, and sometimes the pain that we are going through is self-inflicted pain. It's something that we've done to self. I mean, there is pain that is inflicted on us by others, and sometimes we hurt our own selves by doing things that we shouldn't, that maybe we do or do not know is bad for us, right? So either way, pain is pain. Whatever happened before that pain, why it happened, how it happened, it really doesn't matter. Pain is still pain, real or unreal. It is something that we work through. So, I'm having this conversation with myself between my thoughts and my emotions, okay? Oftentimes when I'm like having this conversation, the third eye is, for me, it's very important. It is, I say it is an intuitive download, or you said you heard from God, or you believe it's an angel, or it's your ancestors, your spirit team, passed over loved one, whatever. Sometimes, you will get something that, whether it is an image in your head, it's a word that you hear, and I'm not saying necessarily it's physical. Sometimes when we think, it's not like someone is talking to us and then we think those words. No, that our thoughts come from self, or sometimes from somewhere else. But it is to see. This is actually a message that's not stemming or originating from self, but from somewhere or someone else, right? And let's say I'm having financial struggles, okay? I know I'm a hard worker. I don't deserve something, right? This is how I feel. You're having this conversation. Let's just use that as an example. And you can get a whether it's a sign or synchronicity, something that it's a knowing, okay? I use, when I'm struggling, right? They're all, I know, I feel, and then this is what I'm being told, right? Like, I know in a way that's hard to understand and explain that I will succeed, because that is what I was told, right? I tell myself, based off of looking at my past experiences, my past trauma, situations that I've dug myself out of, whether I say, like, I dug myself out of the grave, I should have been down in the dumps. I should have been broke, busted, and disgusted. I should be on the side of the road about to, depart, or whatever. I should be suffering from addiction, or whatever, right? Because the trauma and the turmoil is so intense, I should. But I tell myself, based off of my past experiences, knowing that what I'm hearing from God, and He said, I will take care of you. You're going to be fine. Just take the leap. And the reason I have such a strong solar plexus is because I have gone through many, many different scenarios in which were quite tumultuous, and have made it out every time and was fine. So the more you actually, what I say, take a leap of faith, right? Trusting in God, your ancestors, your spirit team, your highest, Bronwyn always says, your highest team of light and resonance, but it's those beings that are unseen that are there to help guide you through life. That in fact, every time that I have done what I was told to, I have made it out just fine, and usually end up doing a lot better. So because of this past experience with this type of journey through a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, I can sit there and look back at a record. I can look at all the scores of all the times I went through something and seeing just how it is that God showed up for me in my life. So when I look at, like, not a roster, but to look at like the playbook, you know, I know that when I go through something, I can. People are always very shocked when I'm spontaneous. I might seem, some people might say, reckless, or something that resonates with the fool card, like just, she will just up and leave, and just, she doesn't know where she's going, she doesn't know how she's going to make it, but she knows God's holding her, like that kind of thing. And because I've had so many experiences like that, it's really, really hard for someone to come up and to try and do me something where I don't feel like I can. It is to self-reflect on my past experiences with whatever current situation is going on, that I'm having to do this process all over again, and saying, well, look at the time when. And I have so many wins to look back on. That this is very, very strong within me and myself. Okay? So it's kind of starting here. I know, I see, I feel, I can. Okay? I also go down here. I have. Sometimes this is very difficult when you're somebody who doesn't have much, right? Say you don't have much. Like maybe you ended up becoming homeless, and you don't have a penny to your name, and you don't know where your next meal's coming from, and you don't have, like I don't. Like that is, I don't. But then this is what I like to call the silver lining. Even when you or most people would assume you do not have something, this is where I choose to put gratefulness into my life. Whether it is, I've experienced a snowstorm in Louisiana, which rarely happens. I get to go walk in the snow, make a snow angel, go make a snowball, have a snowball fight with a child. I can go build a snowman. I'm surprised that based on our infrastructure in Louisiana, that I still have electricity and running water. It's there, if you really think, even in times of lack, what it is you truly still have and have to be grateful for. Every day I still get to wake up. Every day I get to try again. Maybe it is just that meal that you got. I'm thankful for my life. I'm thankful that it is not, it's, there's, if you really, 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 really think about it, you have a lot to be grateful for, even when you don't have much. Or really, you could even argue nothing at all. That's still not true. In times of crisis, like a natural disaster, say a hurricane, you really learn to appreciate electricity, something that you use every single day, that you take for granted every single day because it's a norm. And then when you have something stripped away like electricity, it is now hot and humid. No one can sleep inside. You can't cook. Say you do not have gas at your house and all you have are electrical appliances. You need to clean up, but now you can't see because you don't have any lights. You start to appreciate things like the sunshine. I am able to clean the house during the day because of sunlight. I'm able to see. To see is a gift. To have sunshine is a gift. And being able to keep your house clean for your family is a gift. It is to incorporate gratefulness. I can. I am grateful. Okay. To go to the sacral chakra, okay, right here. There's a lot of creativeness within this. I talk a lot about I speak, I write, I release. your throat chakra, it doesn't necessarily mean it is just your words. It is an expression of oneself, what you're feeling, your emotions. It can be through a picture. It can be through music. It can be through your words, journaling, whatever. To pair the throat chakra, I speak. I use TikTok a lot to journal my experiences and to tap into that in a creative way. I use my words. Okay? These two chakras I use to express self, and it is in its own way a somatic release. So here, there is a dialogue definitely going on right here, right? This is a dialogue, and I'm processing it. This is poured back into self. I have. So it's a dialogue happening first, right? Here, within self. Then I start pouring back into I have. And then what do I do last? I speak. And I do it through a creative process through my sacral chakra. I use words. Some people paint. Some people cook. Some people, whatever it is. It is a creation of sorts, what I call magic. It is a new creation birthed out of authenticity, something real. You know, people may try to clone another person's experience and write it off as their own. Okay, I get that. But to truly create something absolutely brand new and authentic is beautiful, in my opinion. No one, I don't believe, in this world or will ever will be exactly the same person. I don't care if you come back in a new lifetime. You will have a whole new brand new set of experiences, brand new set of family and friends. It's a whole new experience. You can take the same soul, put it through different experience, and end up with a different result. That would be kind of like talking and touching on like nature versus nurture, the nature of somebody, a soul, where they come from, their bloodline, their origin. And then you have the nurture, that is the experiences that you have throughout life that help create your now, your present, if that makes sense. And this is Janelle, by the way. This is Janelle. It is August 21st, a Thursday, 2025. It is now 3:02 p.m. In case somebody else wants to sit there and claim this video as theirs. It is not theirs. This is my video. So, I wanted to explain and show that, in fact, every time I do this process, I'm actually aligning and touching every single one of these chakras. That is not actually just up here and here, that I use all of this, every single tool. So when I choose to meditate, to go back, reflect on my life experiences, reflect on my current situation, reflect on what it is that I actually still do have, acknowledging how I feel, acknowledging and understanding, having that union between your thoughts and your feelings, and understanding that, yes, I do deserve better, and then knowing it and believing it. That is to have unity between the two within your consciousness, your soul, and your mind. To create something after understanding something, and then to releasing it. And I do it creatively. It is a somatic release. This is a good picture in which to explain how it is I go through my healing process, not just through a couple chakras, but through the 7 immediate ones we all have on our bodies. So, I really hope y'all appreciate this video. Really hope y'all enjoy this video. Yep. And I guess until later, this is what I have for y'all now. All right. Bye.